Slaptail Squad, assemble.
Welcome to episode 2 of the Slaptail Squad. I am the Beaveman, coming to you from the Slaptail Nation Studios, or Productions, or Corporation, or I don't know, whatever we want to call it. We haven't figured that out yet. By the way, I'd be remiss if I did not mention at least once, if not several times throughout the podcast, that you can go ahead and check us out at slaptailnation.com. And there you will find the latest episode of the Slaptail Squad. And once the Rons gets it all updated, you should be able to find links to all of our other podcasts, which you can already find them if you just search for Beaveman and the Doc or Beaveman and the Daughter. You'll be able to find all those episodes. But let's give credit where credit is due. The Rons is working on the website. He's doing a pretty good job. So better him than me.
Exactly. Thanks, Rons.
And yeah, you don't have to talk that close to the mic. You don't have to put your face on the mic.
I didn't put my face on the mic.
Okay.
It's no touching.
No touching. Also with us today is the Swan, member of the Slaptail Squad. Not that funny, but she's here.
Say hello, Swan. Hello, Swan.
Okay,
That's what you always say.
You don't
You
have
don't
to be
say that.
right on top of the mic.
I want to be on top of the mic.
With us today also is the Daughter, the youngest
Hi.
member of the Slaptail Squad.
No, you missed up my hi.
Start again. The daughter.
The Daughter.
Hi.
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 Hi. I will say
Not
probably.
hello. You're not gonna say it like that?
I don't
Again,
want to say
again,
it like
you don't
that.
have to be like.
I
right
wasn't
up
on
the
top of it.
Yes,
it
you
looked
were.
like you were licking it.
Yeah.
I do. I like the mic. I'm a mic licker.
It's better than being a window licker, I suppose.
Exactly.
Although at this point in time, if you're sharing mics with somebody,
Don't lick the mic.
Don't lick the mic. I will say that the Daughter is probably the most obnoxious member of the Slaptail Squad.
That's not true.
The age to obnoxious proportion.
Also not true.
Exponentially, you probably are the most obnoxious.
Exponentially, you need to grow some.
What? Grow some
some
what?
what?
Grow a pair.
Grow up. Why would? Okay. Anyway,
You
Thank you.
retarded.
Are you gonna say something about that? You know that word that she just used, Daughter.
That's not very nice.
That's not very nice.
The preferred term is you're doctarded.
Doctarded.
You're
Okay.
doctarded. This, generally speaking, when the Daughter's on the podcast, we try to keep the podcast as PG or PG-13 as possible. There's a good possibility that I could go off on some rants because this is the Slaptail Squad, and it is not an episode of Beaveman and the Daughter. Are you okay with that, Daughter?
Yes.
I mean, you do hear your mother, the Swan, talk on a regular basis, so
Like a
you're
sailor.
used to. Yeah, so you're used to that.
We'll
type
just cover her ears.
They are covered, you idiot.
yeah, exactly. She's wearing headphones, so they are covered.
I know. I
And
was
don't call your
being funny.
Don't call the Swan an idiot.
Sorry,
That's
you
other-
retarded.
That's, you just said doc. You just said you're not supposed to say that word.
Sorry, you doctarded.
Well, this is a special episode of the Slaptail Squad because basically everybody is practicing social distancing. So, in this respect, you're just basically going to get members of the squad that live in the same household. I didn't feel like inviting any of the other germ factories over.
We have enough germs
We have
here.
enough germs to share among the family. All that, what do you call it? Your own therapeutic bacterial milieu, if you will.
Right.
What we're going to do on this podcast, though, is we're going to talk about the SARS-CoV-2 virus that causes COVID-19. I guess that most people probably consider it the coronavirus, which is ridiculous because I don't know if you folks know this or not. There are many coronaviruses, and many of the common ones cause the common cold. What I'm going to try to do on this podcast is I'm going to try not to throw in too much medical expertise.
Okay.
The reason why is, one, I think it detracts from the ridiculousness. I think it will be way more fun if we just exploit the ridiculous theories out there.
But how do you know the ridiculous theories?
How do
Because you're a medical person. That's why. So you might have to use a little medical knowledge.
I'm not sure that's true because here's what I believe. I believe that, and this is why it's beneficial to have the Daughter on the podcast. The Daughter, despite raising her hand when I ask who here in the house has a doctorate, still raises her hand.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, you do, but you don't. if you'll remember, actually, when you were, just sidebar, if you'll remember when you were really little, before I had a doctorate, I would say, okay, who here in this house has a master's degree? Even at a very young age, you would still raise your hand.
Yes.
Yes, anyway.
That was back when she used to be smart, and her favorite book used to be her cardiology book.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
No, it was Where the Wild Things Are.
No, it wasn't. It was this cardiology book that you used to carry around with you, all about the heart, like a medical one, not a kid's book.
No, it was. I think it was the Pocket ACLS guide.
Maybe.
I'm pretty sure that's what she carried around. Anyway, I think it'll be good to have the daughter on because she's not a medical person, despite her professed, pathological lying. She
I
probably tells
have
people
more
that she's a
medical
doctor.
knowledge than most 13-year-olds out there, so thank you. Thank
She's
you.
not afraid to say vagina.
Penis.
Okay. All right. Well, this will be good. This brings me back because if you're a common person, like the daughter, I think that you can distinguish between what's fact and what isn't, and what's bullshit and what isn't.
Maybe. But unless probably. Kids tell the truth, so they might be able.
Sounds
except
like
for
a name for a TV show.
Kids tell the truth.
except for ours.
Just your kid.
Except for if they're self-professed liars, like the daughter.
Right, but I still tell the truth sometimes.
That is a lie.
No, it's
Sometimes.
You can't
okay, I
lie
guess.
100% of the time.
True.
Mom, you look great today.
Thanks. That's totally the truth.
Jeez. Mom, you look just like your daughter.
Oh.
At least I look hotter.
That's truth. Truth for you, right there. Truth. So who wants to start us off then? What we're going to do is we're just going to go over the coronavirus myths out there and just have some fun with them.
I have one.
I thought you didn't have any.
Okay, but I just thought of one.
Okay, go ahead.
So this person I know said that they have more likeliness, is that a word?
More likely.
You're more likely
You're more
to?
likely.
Yeah.
You're more likely that she is more likely to get hit by a car than get the coronavirus. Is that true?
Well, let's put it this way, without going into too much medical bullshit out there. I'll use this. If you're not testing for the coronavirus, we don't know if you have the coronavirus. So therefore, you cannot say either way. So the person who said that they're more likely to get hit by a car is wrong. And if you really want to spin it back on them, you can say this: moron, you've already had the coronavirus. You were a kid. Coronavirus is not specific to the circulating virus that everybody's worried about that causes COVID-19 right now. So if you wanted to be a smartass, you could say, you've already had coronavirus, so please don't step outside because you're probably going to get hit by a car now.
No, that's good. Okay, that's all I got.
Yeah, coronavirus is a family of viruses
That are shaped like crowns.
that look like they got little crowns. Yeah, exactly. So there's lots of them. And when you do a this is trying not to get medical. When you do a respiratory pathogen panel, it lists the different types of coronaviruses that you could be positive for. The common respiratory panel, however, does not have SARS-CoV-2 is one of the viruses that are listed yet. Yeah, it's a special test. So if she's ever had she's had the coronavirus. Everybody's had the coronavirus.
How do you know it's a she?
I said she.
Oh, okay.
Right. So if she's listening to this podcast right now, dumbass, you've already had it before.
Uh-oh.
You just may not have had this one. And the likelihood of you having this one are probably pretty good. And why is that, Swan?
Because nobody washes their fucking hands and nobody follows directions.
Well, I was just going to say nobody's testing for it.
Oh, well, that too.
Because nobody's testing for it.
Because nobody's testing for it. So, to give you an example, the Department of Veteran Affairs sent me an email because I'm a veteran and I use their healthcare system every 2 years. And so they sent me a message saying that, hey, here's the COVID-19 update. The Department of Veteran Affairs, which is, I would say, is probably the largest unified provider of healthcare in the whole country.
Right, because it has all 50 states and are like, not, what do you call
Has
those?
patients
Outlying,
everywhere.
yeah.
So it's not like locally where your hospital might be owned by some large corporation that would encompass all these patients in one hospital system or one corporation-based system. The VA technically is the largest one because if you're a member of the VA, whether you go to California or you go to Michigan, then you're still a patient of the VA health system. So,
Right.
Large health system. How many people do you think they have tested so far, daughter?
50.
Well, you gave them less credit than most people would think it was a high number, but 50 is really not that high. But they've, as of the last email that I received from them, which was less than a week ago, they had tested, you guessed it, 322 patients.
Oh wow,
that's not very many.
That's not very many because they have 50 states,
plus,
patients in every state.
The Virgin Islands and other
Puerto Rico and everything like that. So they would have they have a lot of patients. They got way more than 322 patients. So if the largest healthcare system in the United States is not testing people, then what is the likelihood that you're going to get tested? So if you
Pretty
don't
damn
test,
slim.
If you don't test,
you don't have positive results.
You don't have positive results. So therefore, we don't actually know how many people actually have it. I, for one, would like to see mass testing, because if you did mass testing, then you would show all these people that have it, and that proportion would actually come down, because if you have a lot of people that have it compared to how many people have poor outcomes, instead of having this percentage of people that are going to die from it that's up in the high, what are we at now, like 6%, 5%?
I think so. Yeah, but that's the beauty of statistics. You can manipulate them however you want, and they're doing that right now. Not testing equals not positive equals low statistics.
As a layperson, daughter, why do you think they're not testing?
Because they want us to show that there's not a lot of death rates from it. Because we're not doing anything, so.
I think that's pretty accurate. See, then that's why I don't think that it's that much of it. When people talk about conspiracy theories, I'm like, I don't really think that's a stretch. We already know now. Originally, they're making it sound like we were testing everybody, but we're really not. So it depends on what the capabilities are. We won't start mass testing people until the federal government says, hey, these independent labs can test and their results can be definitive instead of having to send it to the Centers for Disease Control. Okay. Now, I'm not going to, that's the end of us getting too medical about it. Or is it?
Probably not.
Probably not. Did you want to do one first, Swan?
The one that I saw was actually posted by a healthcare worker, which I thought was just crazy because I thought that person had a lot more common sense than, and not just common sense, but medical knowledge, was gargle with salt water, and that will help you fight off coronavirus.
I think that will help with bacteria in your mouth and halitosis.
Right. But it's not going to cure it. Gargle with salt water. Come on.
What component of the salt water would be efficient against killing
I don't know.
a
It didn't even
virus
say.
or bacteria when bacteria and viruses live in the ocean, which is the most saltwater environment?
Right.
It is it's a good recommendation if you have a sore throat, because our body is what percentage salt water, the daughter?
I don't know, 90?
A lot.
92. No idea. 73.
Sure, we'll say 73. So the daughter says 73% of our body's fluid is salt water. We are not 73%. We're going with the daughters. We are not 73% water. We are a saltwater solution. All right? And so, if you have a sore throat, gargling with salt water helps soothe those passages and helps promote healing, helps slough off the nastiness, but it's not going to kill anything. So therefore, if somebody had strep throat, as an example, we can't tell them to go gargle with salt water, and that's going to kill the bacteria. It's not going to do that. It's also not going to help you with a virus. A virus has to run its course, you fucktards. Period. Even the flu, that last statistic I read on the flu, 18,000 people in the United States were dead from the flu. I think 1.2 million people infected, or more than that, probably more than that.
That's medical jargon. Stop it.
We have medication that we give for the flu. It does not cure the flu. It's an antiviral. What does that mean? The virus has to do its thing. The body has to fight it off. It has to destroy it. All right. Here's a good quack theory. There are rumors that the United States government created the Chinese coronavirus. First of all, it's not supposed to be called the Chinese coronavirus. This claim was first made by the Russian news network Channel One during a live news broadcast. A news presenter said the U.S. government created the virus to destroy China's economy. He added that the U.S. might have also created it so they could sell vaccines to the Chinese government. The presenter based his claim on the fact that corona means crown in Russian and Latin. As we all know, President Trump used to be a judge on beauty pageants and was sometimes in charge of crowning the winner.
That is so ridiculously stupid.
The presenter said this was the reason the virus was named after crowns. Meanwhile, scientists say they named the virus after its crown-like shape. What do you think about that, daughter?
People are really dumb.
People's real dumb. That's a real dumb
You big
theory.
dummy.
That's a real dumb theory. But you had already said why the coronavirus is named. It's because the virus itself, its shape, has the crown points basically on it. And as I said already, coronaviruses are not new.
It's not named after the beer.
Well, we'll get to that later.
Oh.
What other other interesting sidebars do you have? Did you have anything that you want to say about that particular theory?
No, that's just garbage and crap.
I mean, you could kind of go off on that one. I also received somebody sent some email clipping, and I have to stop reading them actually because they get so freaking stupid. This one said, "Is it just a coincidence that this all happened when Trump is going for re-election?" I'm like, yes, the entire world is against Trump becoming president.
So they started it in China.
So they started this virus that began in China and went throughout the whole world just to see what Trump's reaction would be and how he was going to deal with this crisis so that he could look bad in front of the Democrats. That's exactly what happened.
Everybody wants to make shit political. Come on.
Well, yeah, but doesn't he want to make it political also? Hasn't he been the one also saying that, oh, they're trying to make me look bad on how I responded to the crisis? Whatever. I don't know. Whatever. How many documentaries have you watched this week, daughter?
One.
Was that truly a documentary?
It was under documentaries.
It was under the vague category of documentaries.
No, it was under history documentaries.
Well, have you seen that? There's a really good. It's not a documentary, but it's one of the. It would probably fall in the same category like that.
No,
one,
probably not.
Where I think it's called Pandemic. Have you seen?
Oh,
that?
no, but I saw it come up on whatever.
I'm pretty sure that's one of the names, but I watched one episode. You can basically it's not called Pandemic. It's different theories on
actually.
why different theories on why the world would end. Really is kind of one of them, and Bill Gates is on one of them.
Okay.
And Bill Gates is on one of them, predicting that what would destroy us or would destroy the human race, and I'm paraphrasing because I watched the episode a long time ago before this ever happened. But he said his theory was that what's going to wipe out the human race is a super flu.
Okay.
Which I've always agreed with. I said that too. I'm like, what's going to wipe us out is a pathogen, like a super flu. Because we know every year lots of people die from the flu. We've had the 1918, 1919 super flu and Spanish flu, all that crap, right? And you can't do anything about it. And so anyway, so he said that. So here's theory number 9, conspiracy theory number 9, the Bill Gates theory. If you're struggling to understand how Bill Gates fits into all these, we will need to go back to October 2019. That month, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation collaborated with the World Economic Forum and the Johns Hopkins Center for Health Security to test how well we were prepared to deal with an epidemic. In a curious twist of fate, the COVID-19 virus showed up 2 months later. Conspiracy theorists say the program was a prelude to the upcoming epidemic, which all the 3 organizations had planned all along. Meanwhile, the Johns Hopkins Center for Health Security has denied any link between the event and the COVID-19 epidemic. The Netflix documentary show is called The Next Pandemic. Good show. Let me plug that one. Conspiracy theorists backed their claims with the fact that Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation had earlier provided funding for the UK-based Pirbright Institute, not a great name, which has a patent on a coronavirus vaccine. They say Bill Gates teamed with the institute to start the epidemic, right?
Oh, yeah, totally.
Because he doesn't have enough money already, so he could sell the vaccines. The Pirbright Institute denies any link between their organizations and the COVID-19 virus, and a spokesperson said they only researched into coronaviruses that affected birds and not humans, and their vaccines do not work for humans either. Your thoughts on this, daughter? Bill Gates sitting around, teams up with a couple other
I'm pretty
folks.
sure he has a hell of a lot better things to do than plan that.
Isn't he one of the richest people on, the planet?
Yes.
So why would he do it?
Oh, I mean, he just needs more money. No. Doesn't Bill Gates, here's the bigger question, doesn't Bill Gates donate a crap load of his money to humanitarian pursuits?
Think so. Yeah, I think so.
I mean, so why would he develop a virus? Why would he go in cahoots with somebody to develop a virus just so that a vaccine could be developed? When we all full know, again, how long does it take to get a vaccine pushed through clinical trials, etc., so that it can be given to the public. And this is the daughter, who is basically a teenager, not a medical person. Daughter, how long would it take us to get a vaccine?
Didn't you say like the earliest would be like 14 months?
Yeah, that's a rough estimate. And why is that? You got to develop it. One, you got to have the thing that you're developing it for. You got to develop it. You got to get it through trials, and then you have to do human trials. Voluntary human trials.
Yeah, who's going to volunteer for that?
Voluntary human trials. You can't just give somebody a vaccine. And why do we have those steps in place? Because you don't want to give a vaccine that's going to kill somebody. All right, we developed a vaccine. Does it work? We don't know.
Here, let's try it on you.
Let's try it. Oh, shit. My uterus fell out.
Oh. You don't even have a uterus.
I'm just saying, in this scenario, scenario, depending how you want to say it, I have a uterus. In this scenario, I have a uterus.
No, I do.
No, in this scenario, I have a uterus.
But you don't.
Right. But in the scenario...
Right. Is this hypothetical?
This is a uterus. So we can't get I believe I was listening to, and I try not to very often, unless I really want a good laugh or I want to get mad for a minute. The president was saying how fast we could get a vaccine. Oh, it's just like a couple months. Like, what? What do you mean we can get a vaccine in like a couple months? Like, where are you coming from? Who lets you speak? Sometimes you're like, who's pulling your little cord and letting you speak and say these things?
I mean, okay, so if Bill Gates was involved in this, why wouldn't he come up with like a bacteria or something then? Because then you could find a new antibiotic to cure it.
Valid point.
And that'll give you more money.
But you would still have to, but the clinical trial for an antibiotic, I think that you're correct, would probably take less time than a clinical trial for a vaccine.
And it would be something that could documentedly, I don't even know the word, has documentation that it actually works.
Yeah, the downside with that is money-wise, you would have to make sure that this bacteria did infect a good proportion of the world, because what good is it going to do for you to have a antibiotic that the percentage of the world uses one time for 7 days and might not use again, right? As opposed to a vaccine where
just
you can get somebody to use it every single year. Well, like all antibiotics, even if they're old.
Okay, I mean, strep throat comes around pretty damn easy, and it's pretty damn contagious. So, something like that.
Right. I agree with you. I think it's a silly theory. But hey, let's go with it. It's all Bill Gates' fault.
Are we talking about theories of why it's around, or are we talking about the crackpot cures for it?
No, it doesn't matter. Whatever you want.
Okay.
What do you got?
People who use essential oils in all their hoodie guru magic medicine.
It makes you smell good when you're
while you're dying.
While you're dying. It makes it. Hey, you know what? Something's gonna soothe you, make you smell good.
Just sprinkle this lavender on, soak with some, I don't even know, snake oil and whatever other bullshit essential oil crap that people tote.
I think there's some benefit to essential oils, but I don't know what it is. I'm not sure. I mean, there's got to be some proven. I mean, I think that there's probably like an aromatherapy aspect to it,
right?
Maybe, and obviously it's good for massaging.
I feel like it's supportive therapy. It's not a cure,
right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Or complementary,
right?
So
you feel good,
right? I mean, there's some benefit to it. For example, is there really any Vicks Vapor Rub? Well, I'm going to compare Vicks Vapor Rub to essential oils. Because isn't that basically kind of what it is, right?
I mean, yeah.
I'm sure they have menthol essential oils.
I'm sure they do.
Okay, so we use Vicks Vapor Rub. It helps to effervesce.
It has eucalyptus. I'm pretty sure eucalyptus is in an essential oil.
So there's some benefit to that, but is it a cure for anything?
No, but you can breathe a little better with it.
Makes your nose less stuffy because you're trying to breathe in the lavender.
Right. Exactly. But is it some sort of a treatment? No, I mean, maybe it'll help you, like you said, help you clear up.
Supportive therapy makes you feel a little better. Maybe get a little rest. But again, rest, fluids, all that stuff.
It's like the same thing with everybody's hopped up on colloidal silver, right? I don't know what the daily recommended intake of silver is for humans. I'm pretty sure it's nothing,
Right.
or we're talking micron size. But a lot of people seem to be very into colloidal silver. I have people all the time tell me that. I'm like, was you planning on turning blue? Is that why you're taking it?
Well, what about the people who take iodine?
Oh yes, also iodine. We need very little iodine throughout our entire life. The body utilizes it very well. We get enough from salt. You don't have to take supplemental iodine or iodine, actually. How would you pronounce it, daughter?
I pronounce it iodine.
Why is that?
That's just how I've always heard
Well,
it.
how do you pronounce chlorine?
Chlorine.
Well, how do you pronounce bromine?
I don't know,
Well,
I've never
he's
had
saying that it
pronounced
would be ein,
It
like
would actually be
iodine.
iodine, not iodine.
I call it iodine.
Yeah,
So
I understand.
with a little lead in, I did hear drink some bleach. That'll help.
Oh yeah, that'll cure
Drink
everything.
some
that's wrong
bleach.
with
That'll
it.
cure your.
What's the daily recommended intake?
I
of
don't know,
bleach?
but it's gonna burn the shit out of your esophagus.
And if not kill you, okay, sure.
You can gargle with it, or you could just drink it. Either one. It's not recommended at home, folks. This is a disclaimer. All these are crackpot, and we don't recommend them.
I remember when speaking of iodine and chlorine, when you're hopefully they don't do it anymore. I don't recommend it. It's disgusting. But when I was in the Army and you don't have resupply for water, like if you can't find water, you have to carry iodine tablets.
Yeah.
And they also had chlorine tablets. Thankfully, I never had the chlorine tablets. One of my friends had them. I tasted his water. I was
disgusting.
like, wow, this is like drinking
Like-
a pool. So same thing, like, I don't really know how
I'm
tasty
so
it
used
is.
to our delicious well water that even regular water, city water, it tastes like chlorine to me.
Yeah, for sure. But I definitely would not recommend people drinking bleach.
I mean, if you're gonna do that, you might as well drink some antifreeze. At least it tastes better.
And you have to remember, bleach that's a base, right?
I
Daughter.
don't know.
This is a science question.
This is a science question
We
for
don't
you.
learn about the periodic table and stuff like that.
Well, but it's not an acid, right? It's basically,
No, I don't think it's an acid.
It's a base.
No, yeah, I think so.
Isn't it?
I don't know.
What are the numbers for it?
I don't know.
We've been out of school for like 30 years.
Yeah, you look it up.
I don't
Anyway.
have my phone.
Anyway,
Well, it's chlorine. So CH.
that's Cl, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Cl.
I'm
right, yeah,
pretty sure.
Cl. So what's the rest of it? I feel
No
like
idea.
I feel like it's some sort of a base, right?
I don't think it's an acid, so.
Right, because if you drink it, that's why you would.
I don't know, but
that's
don't
why
mix it with
burns.
the no. Don't mix it with ammonia, folks.
Well, that's why it burns, though, right? Because if you were to put it on our skin, which is basically acidic, that's why you get a burn.
Sure. I don't know.
Why does soap work?
Oh God, this is
Soap
too
works
much.
because it's a
Whoa.
base. That's why we get slippery when they come in contact with each other. They cancel each other out. That's why
Except
it
for
gets
that
slippery.
nasty hotel soap that everybody uses, and then when you shower, it makes you feel like you got rubber on you, and then you put water on it, and it's like that weird feeling.
Well, and hotel water is really hard water. Usually, it's not super soft like ours.
It's super chlorinated.
Yeah, not a fan. Dries you out really bad.
That's what you call a totally off-topic conversation.
Thank
What
you.
were we talking about anyway?
Drinking bleach.
Oh yeah, don't do it.
Don't do it.
No matter what. The bottom line is this: if you're talking about like a chlorine tablet, first of all, you weren't supposed to consume a lot of those either. They're like, this is as a necessity that you have to have. You've got bad water and you want to, and that's very diluted.
Right.
A chlorine tablet is very diluted. That's not like drinking bleach. All right. What else have you crackpot wise have you got?
For cures, how about taking steroids?
Taking steroids?
Yeah,
Like what kind of steroids?
Like,
just like
you know, like
or-
prednisone or like a steroid because it's going to make you feel better. However, your immune system is already depressed and suppressed from the virus. Let's give it a steroid to suppress it even more. That's
Well,
seems
and
like a
even
good
with
theory.
and even with viruses in general, there's this big thing about how you can alternate between Tylenol and Motrin.
Right?
But I think I read that with an infection with SARS-CoV-2 developing COVID-19 that they don't recommend NSAIDs.
Right. I heard that too.
You're not supposed to take like Motrin or Aleve or anything like that, which is I usually don't recommend those anyway. Usually what I recommend is Tylenol. The reason why I do that is because most people start getting the shits because they've been taking and they get stomach aches and they come in like, oh, I've got a stomach ache. I'm like, yeah, because you've been pumping your child with ibuprofen for the past 3 days instead of giving them Tylenol. And then they don't want to eat. So when you don't want to eat and you give somebody ibuprofen or Aleve, they're going to have upset stomachs and start shitting everywhere.
Well, and I think, doesn't it have something to do with your liver and the excretion of it? Like,
Well, kidneys are for your NSAIDs.
yeah, and
Most of the majority of the clearance for your NSAIDs are from your...
so maybe it's part of that too. I don't know, because they tell you not to
kidneys,
take
not your
ibuprofen or naproxen or any of that stuff when you do running, like a marathon, because it's not good for your kidneys, because you already dehydrate yourself and all that stuff from running.
Oh, okay. Must be a protein thing or
Yeah.
hemoglobin thing or... I don't know.
Something. You can have like rhabdo or something.
This is sort of science. Pay attention.
Uh-huh.
Stop looking
She's
off in the
sleeping
distance.
over there.
All right, next theory. Here's a good theory, and this one, I think this one makes a lot of sense. Wuhan
Wuhan.
was one of the first Chinese cities to get 5G internet.
Ooh.
It is the same city where the COVID-19 virus first appeared. Is that a coincidence? Dana Ashley says it is not. I don't know who Dana is, but Ashley believes the COVID-19 virus is caused by radiation waves released by 5G internet. She based her claims on a 2-decade-old research paper that revealed 5G was dangerous to human health. Ashley says the so-called coronavirus is actually radiation poisoning. She says it weakens the immune system, leaving a person vulnerable to disease. People on the other side of the fence say Ashley is nuts. No, that's not what they said. Ashley is just another conspiracy theorist. They say the 2000 study she quoted was discredited by a 2005 study that proved 5G was not dangerous to humans. They also pointed out the fact that Wuhan was just one of the 16 Chinese cities that got 5G internet at the same time. Well, I don't understand the correlation between 5G and a virus. From just from a base
radiation.
standpoint, how does that make any sense? If this is radiation poisoning, why would you come back positive for SARS-CoV-2?
I don't know, but did they check these people's radiation levels then? If this theory could totally be debunked with that.
Well, I mean, depending on the level of radiation poisoning you get, you don't clear radiation poisoning, do you? You don't just, your body doesn't just go, "Do-do-do, I'm better," after 14 days.
Probably not.
I mean, I don't know. I don't deal with radiation poisoning. I wasn't at Chernobyl. Your thoughts on this, daughter?
I don't understand it.
You don't understand which part of it?
No, like, I don't get why that would be a thing.
Well, I don't think that you can debunk what she... One, I think that that's a crazy theory. But I don't think you can debunk her by saying that there was a 2005 study that refuted the 2000 study. And I'll tell you why. Why do you think that is?
Because the data's too old? I don't know.
No. Why do you think that one study isn't enough to debunk another study? Or do you think that that's totally...
You need way more than one study. That's too many variables and not enough information.
I have an example. When you go to college and you're becoming a forensic pathologist, and they say to you, "Hey, it's time for you to defend your doctorate, your thesis," they're not going to let you say, "Here's these 2 studies. This one says I'm right, and this one says I'm wrong."
I feel like there's a lot of gray area and you need to have more evidence.
Exactly. So not only do you have to have, if I wanted to say drinking Diet Pepsi causes weight gain, that's my theory. That's my hypothesis. I have to find multiple studies that support my hypothesis. Now, they could be related to that study, or they could be studies that people have already done, and I'm just furthering their research. But I also need to find studies that refute that. Not only do I need to find those 2 types of studies, but I also want to find studies that people have done on those studies. In other words, studies of studies. So to sit there and try to debunk what this person said based on her 2000 study, based on a 2005 study, it's just showing 2 studies. And yeah, you can find 2 studies for just about everything. That one's going to be for and one's going to be against. Not enough information. In general, though, I think it's a little bit silly to say it's radiation poisoning. That seems like that's something that can be pretty easily debunked by having someone test their levels of radiation.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what do you have to say about that?
Yeah,
Keep
you
up.
big dummy.
I don't know.
You don't know. Fine. All right, I'll read another one. The Chinese government. Some people believe China created the COVID-19 virus as part of its biological weapon program.
Yeah, and they're gonna kill themselves with it. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Well, that's test your available resources. Test what you got available to you. They say the virus leaked from a lab causing the epidemic. The lab in question is the National Biosafety Laboratory. It is the only Chinese government-owned facility capable of conducting research into deadly viruses. It is part of the Wuhan Institute of Virology, which is located in
Wuhan?
Wuhan. If you recall, Wuhan is the same city where the epidemic broke out. Yeah,
You're probably pronouncing it all wrong.
Wuhan.
Wuhan.
Wuhan. Wuhan.
Okay, that's racist. Anyway.
You racist. You know, I know racist. You racist. You
And you lost all the fans.
China is not
I lost
listening to
every
you.
person that I have ever had listed in China just now. These claims also arose over a statement by President, I know I'm going to get this right, Xi Jinping, made right after the epidemic broke out. He said the safety of laboratories was a national issue, and the following day, the Chinese Ministry of Science killed every person who said that the Chinese government was responsible for the breakout. No, that's not what happened. The Chinese Ministry of Science and Technology released instructions on how to secure laboratories to prevent the escape of viruses.
I just feel like it's bullshit. Why would they release it on themselves? I mean, accidentally even. There's got to be something in place for that. But anyway.
I'd be more likely to... I actually kind of am wondering if it's not so much that... I don't... It's not like I'm saying that I think that they did it. That's not what I think. What I'm thinking is, what if this virus is actually the epicenter of it was China, but what if it was actually global? But they were the first ones to really test for it. What if this is... I mean, virus comes from nature anyway, disruption of nature.
So you're thinking they're ahead in their scientific research than we are?
I'm thinking they caught something that maybe possibly was already throughout the whole world.
Right.
I'm thinking that they're just the first ones to identify it.
I mean, that's a more reasonable theory than the aforementioned.
If the theory is that this is a zoonotic infection, and they're thinking that, and they haven't confirmed that it definitely came from bats. They're just saying that, hey, this type of virus does live in bats. Mm-hmm. And it would not be out of question for it to start there just because they, for some reason, eat bats. I don't know why that is, but hey, apparently bats are eaten throughout the whole world.
That's disgusting.
We don't particularly eat them there, but it does
There's
remind me of...
not even that much meat on them.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of meat on frog legs either, and people eat that shit all the time. Gross.
Yeah. There's actually a video that I watched yesterday that was... They're trying to... It's another one of those conspiracy... Or not conspiracy theories, but... One of those things where this person caused the coronavirus because she did a video. She's like a YouTube influencer and she's eating a bat.
Ew.
Because they sell them in restaurants. And it was not that poor little bat. He did not look happy. He looked like he was boiled alive.
Oh.
Anyway.
I wonder if my cousin's ever eaten bat.
I don't know.
I could see that.
But again, people, this is why you don't eat nasty shit. This is why you don't eat nasty shit in general. There was that show, Doomsday Preppers.
Uh-huh.
There was this guy they were talking about food. He's like, yeah, you can get plenty of food out there. You just trap a common field mouse.
No.
And we're like, no, you shouldn't eat mice. You really shouldn't. And so they trapped this. He had this little.
Is this the one that he made his son eat it?
And his son ate it.
Yeah,
and I'm like, why would you let your kid? And there's a disclaimer, like at the end of the TV show, saying you really shouldn't eat mice. Basically, because they could carry the plague and all kinds of other bullshit. And you're like,
nice.
Yeah, why would you eat? Like, no, you don't.
No.
Desperate times call for desperate measures, but we're not in desperate times, so I don't think you need to train yourself by eating mice.
I would eat like
bugs
leaves,
at that point.
leaves,
bugs
and
would be way healthier for you than eating something. Anyway.
No, yeah.
No. So I think that there's a possibility until they for sure say that it came from bats and that epicenter was the wet market, quote unquote, in Wuhan, China. Then there's a possibility that maybe this virus has been around for a while. I mean, all viruses have been around for a while, obviously, until they mutate or change, but everything's been around longer than us. Life began because of microorganisms. But what if the possibility is actually that this is throughout the whole world and China was just the first place to identify it? Because
and it just happened to get worse and bad enough to where now it's causing death. Like, we could have lots of unexplained viruses that cause fever, chills, cough, etc. That's not pneumonia, not the flu, not...
perfect point.
And
you're exactly right.
Now it's just bad enough to where people are dying from it. It's not a common cold anymore.
Right, and we don't test for viruses. If you come in and we test you for influenza and you're negative, but I know you have symptoms just like the flu, I have two choices. the testing now is pretty good. So if you do a DNA test for it, if it comes back negative for the flu, meaning you don't have the flu, then I'm like, well, what the fuck do they have? They have one of the other common respiratory viruses.
Right.
And the code or the diagnosis I give you is viral syndrome. Well, what if, you're right, what if it's been this crazy coronavirus that's been getting worse and worse over time? And now we're like, oh, what is this that's killing people that's not the flu and it's not some other common virus until they figure out what it is?
Well, and just think about it. We're getting unhealthier as a society as well.
No way.
So, 20 years ago, we might have been more healthy and been able to fight it off. And now we've got a lot more fat fucks who are overweight with comorbidities and they're dying from it.
I don't know if that's actually true. Like, for example, I'm not sure that we're less healthy. Just tell us what you had for breakfast this morning, daughter.
We're not talking about
No, go
that.
ahead.
I had a cookie.
Not just a
skillet.
cookie, a cookie skillet with ice cream on top of it.
It was really good.
Like,
It was so good.
so good.
Highly recommended.
Well, you had a vegetable smoothie.
Yeah,
That cancels it out.
it was disgusting, but yeah, I ate it anyway.
Oh, there was another part to this. Conspiracy theorists back up their claims with the fact that viruses have earlier leaked from Chinese labs. The deadly severe acute respiratory syndrome virus escaped twice. You just imagine this like little virus, like climbing the fence.
Run it over.
Like,
It's
climbing the
probably
fence,
cute.
And there's lights going off everywhere. And then a larger sound. This little virus is like just climbing, scurrying along. Like, fuck, man, I gotta get the fuck out of here, man. They're always poking me with shit. That'd be hilarious. That'd be a
Little
funny-
cartoon.
A little cartoon of a little virus just escaping.
Maybe you should draw that.
I don't
Can't
have, I have
draw.
no talent. I can't draw. That'd be funny though. If there's any listeners out there, Mountain View, yeah, Mountain View. I gotta say something about Mountain View. Mountain View, California. How's it going? How you folks going out there? You have the most plays for the Beaveman and the Doc podcast than any other city in. Wait for it.
The
The
world?
world. I said, wait for it.
I did wait for it. We said it at the same time. That was pretty cool.
Yeah,
It's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool stuff. What else you got there?
How about, I like this one as a cure. Drink alcohol. Like whiskey or vodka or something like that. I feel
Hook
like that's
me
probably
up.
a good... Oh, no. That's probably a good theory. At least you won't care. You'll be drunk.
Now, I wonder why people think that that would work, though.
Because alcohol, they're using like as in hand sanitizer and spraying the people off with alcohol.
So are they
when
drinking rubbing alcohol or regular alcohol?
I think they were
Like,
talking about.
I think they're talking
well,
about
I mean,
regular alcohol.
regular
Everybody's like,
vodka
let's start
slash
drinking
whiskey.
rubbing alcohol now. Let's
mean,
drink lots of rubbing alcohol.
You'd get drunk the same, I guess, but
Yeah, you
a
would be
hell of a
very
lot
ill.
faster.
You're very, very ill.
Don't
do not
drink
rubbing,
alcohol.
Do not drink rubbing alcohol. It's bad.
And don't make your own hand sanitizer at home. Haven't you seen those videos on that?
Well, the World Health Organization has a recipe for making hand sanitizer.
yeah, but some
We're
people
actually
are
just reading
making
it.
up their own recipes to
Oh
make
yeah,
hand
you shouldn't do
sanitizer.
that. If you're gonna make hand sanitizer, use the World Health Organization's recipe.
Yeah.
I mean, the World Health Organization has hydration fluid recipes also. So there's lots of. And why do they have that stuff? Because not everybody is from a rich country like the United States. So,
right.
Yeah.
You can't go to the store and buy some Pedialyte.
No, and they're converting distilleries here. I don't know if it's everywhere, but I know they're doing it in Michigan, right?
I think so.
That they're converting distilleries are starting to make hand sanitizer for folks, which is cool. It's cool. It's kind of like it's like almost like a wartime situation, converting the stuff that you already have to make the stuff that you need.
I mean, I guess that's good and use your resources, right?
Yeah. Well, it's not like the government's going to tap into theirs and break out all of their ventilators and everything that they have for everybody, I guess.
Now we're going to start using leaves as toilet paper. We're running out of toilet paper.
That would hurt. Yeah, but we're not running out of Kleenex and facial tissue. Like if you go to the store, they still have that, and they still have Bounty in,
Yeah, but
paper
don't
towel.
flush Bounty.
Yeah, don't flush that. That's bad. You
That's
gotta throw
another
that-
thing that's
you gotta
going
throw that
around
shit
is
away.
everybody's going to flush their random shit down the toilet. Like their baby wipes, and
But then
other
they're
things.
going to stop up their toilet.
Right,
And they're
that's
gonna
a
call,
big problem.
They're going to call the Roto-Rooter guy, but he's not going to be able to come. Like,
And all your viral crap.
Your viral
'cause it's-
shit.
Yeah, because it seeps out in your fecal matter. So you're sick
did
and
they
you have...
confirm that, though? Did they confirm that?
Did they? Because
said
I've
there's
seen stuff
traces.
about that. Yeah, I think
There's
so.
traces. I always hate that, too, when people say they said. And I'm like, well, who's said?
Who's they?
Who's they? Is it the ladies at JCPenney's again?
It probably is.
Did the penguin
JCPenney's
tell
is
you?
closed right now.
Did the penguin tell you that?
The penguin told me.
Did the penguin tell you that?
Yep.
Well, yeah, don't flush paper towel. If nothing else, here at the Slaptail Squad, we will tell you things that keep your toilet from getting clogged up. Do not flush your toilet. Do not flush
Paper towel, baby
Just
wipes.
put it in the
baby
garbage.
wipes, tampons.
Yeah, tampons, don't flush them either.
I know.
Diapers.
We weren't talking to you specifically.
looked at me.
Diapers. Don't flush diapers.
I mean, yeah, if you run out, I'd rather run out of toilet paper than food.
You can eat the toilet paper.
No. You can always shower or use a washcloth to wash your ass.
I feel like you would rather run out of anything than run out of food.
Ayo.
Yeah. Those are hilarious.
I mean, your picture on the website is of you eating a giant donut.
I like donuts.
Photo credits
I
to-
really just like
daughter.
frosting. We don't have any frosting.
Yeah, we do.
Well, that doesn't count. It's okay. It's not.
Just
If
make
anybody
your
has
own
any
frosting.
hookup on wedding cake frosting, sugary buttercream,
eat sugar.
delicious. No, it's not the same. Buttercream frosting, delicious. The sugarier, the better.
Yeah, if you have a hookup
yum,
on
yum, yum.
frosting, just
Yeah.
send us a message at on the
On the
website there,
slaptailnation.com.
slaptailnation.com, or you can email
Leave a
us,
comment.
or you can email us at slaptailsquad@gmail.com.
Frosting.
I don't think you're gonna have any takers. I don't think Mountain View is gonna send you any frosting.
They might.
I don't think that's gonna happen. As a matter of fact, Mountain View, the
Don't
Swan
send her
has a
any
food
frosting.
problem.
I like
So,
food.
I don't know that you should send her any food.
Just frosting.
Do you
be
guys
good.
drink a lot of Mountain Dew?
It's not the Mountain
In
Dew.
Mountain View,
Yeah.
if they do and they have any health issues, it's not because of the Mountain Dew.
Because it ain't
It's always
the Mountain
important to
Dew.
remember. It's always important to remember.
It's not the Mountain
Dew. I will say this though, Mountain Dew, if you're listening, and you want to throw some money our way as a sponsor, I could
Be persuaded to
be
change your view.
persuaded to not change my viewpoint, but somebody else could do the commercial spot. I think that's not wrong, right?
No.
That's
no.
not me selling out.
No.
Is it me selling out?
It's you having a biased, unbiased opinion.
I would like to say, daughter, can you hand me that under the brown book there? I want to take a break from the coronavirus for just a second to right under the brown book.
Swan is closer.
Okay, Swan, right underneath
The
there.
yellow thing?
There is
This?
a
yeah, this.
medication.
Yes.
I just wanted to. So here's a funny thing. I went to see my doctor the other day. God bless him.
Gotta love him.
Gotta love my doctor. Went to see him the other day because I had some concerns, and he didn't think that my concern was the concern. He didn't think that was the issue. He decided that I've got some underlying reflux problems, and that's what's causing my issue. So he said, "Hey, I don't think it's this problem. You should do this. Just go get a proton pump inhibitor, like Nexium or Prilosec or something like that. Start taking it, and see how you feel." I'm like, okay. It dawns on me later after I left that he never listened to my heart or my lungs or my belly and never used his stethoscope at all, which he rarely does. Love him anyway. Different doctor than I am. But I just thought it was funny because I got this generic Nexium at Walgreens. Shout out to you, Walgreens. You're keeping it real. I went to Walgreens the other day. The lady sanitized the touchpad before I touched it and after.
Good. Go Walgreens. Yeah.
Not only did she do that, but she said some very nice words like saying, "I hope your family's fine," and blah, blah, blah. So thank you, Walgreens, for doing the right thing. Anyway.
So let's hear about your medication.
So I've got this Nexium, this generic Nexium, this esomeprazole, and I was laughing because there's some tips for managing heartburn.
Excellent.
That they
Right
were-
on the package.
On the package that they were kind enough to include. Okay? So let's see what you think about these. Tips for managing heartburn. Avoid foods or drinks that are more likely to cause heartburn, such as rich, spicy, fatty, and fried foods, chocolate, caffeine, alcohol, and even some acidic fruits and vegetables. Makes sense.
Right.
Makes sense.
At least they gave you
Think-
examples.
This is.
You eat all those, you probably have heartburn.
Well, have you heard her stomach?
Uh-huh.
Hey.
Hey.
Poops once a week.
Yeah.
So some good advice. It's still good advice. Here.
Okay, yep, good
Next
advice.
one. Eat slowly and do not eat big meals. Well, this is good advice for everybody. You should not eat to excess. You should not eat yourself sick.
Hey,
Ayo.
why is everyone looking at me?
You should not eat until you're way past full and then tell yourself, just
through.
push through. That's
You
also
told me
something.
that this morning when I was eating my cookie skillet.
Yeah, you should not push through. You should stop eating.
Stand up. It helps.
No.
It does.
No, you should not do that. Stop eating. This is also good advice. Do not eat late at night or just before bedtime. Well, it's because when you lay down, that lower esophageal sphincter relaxes and it can kick up acid and all good things. So these are all really good, really good.
See, it's helpful.
It is. It gets better. I mean, it's not till it's the last three that really kill me.
Okay.
Do not lie flat or bend over soon after eating.
Because you might throw up, especially if you're really full.
If you
you might
lie
get-
flat, just lie on your
Or
side.
you might get short of breath because you have a really big belly when you bend over. Or you might shock yourself when you see your toes because you're like, shit, I have toes. I didn't know. Good advice. Let me see here. Raise the head of your bed. Also helps with reflux. Mm-hmm. Okay, now this is where it gets funny. What I thought was funny. Wear loose-fitting clothing around your stomach.
Yes, thank you. Go sweatpants.
So in case you have a lot of pressure in that area because you have a large belly and you've decided that you want to wear your pants super high or they're just too tight and you refuse to go buy anything bigger or lose weight.
Hey,
Just
I feel
wear-
offended by that.
I'm not even talking to you.
I'm just
I'm just saying in
taking
general.
offense to it.
Wear loose-fitting clothing around your stomach.
Yoga
Or
pants
don't wear
for all.
anything at all.
Don't wear pants.
If you smoke, quit smoking.
Nice.
Excellent.
That's all you have to do. In order to quit smoking, go get this Walgreens version of Nexium, this esomeprazole, and Nexium, if you're listening, I would also sponsor you. Be glad to be sponsored by you. If you smoke, just quit smoking.
Yeah, it's easy.
Bottom
like,
line, people, just I know
stop.
you're heartburn.
I mean,
just
it's
quit
good
smoking.
advice for everybody. Just quit smoking.
But it's easy to do now, just based on this Walgreens
right.
package. According to
the
them,
package says so.
if the package says if you smoke, just quit smoking. Your heartburn will go away. Just quit it. There's somebody out there right now that's been smoking, and they have heartburn, and they're going to go buy this package, and they're one of those very literal people, and they're like, let me read this package. Oh, shit.
I should quit.
And that's the last cigarette they're ever going to have.
I'm sure it works like that.
It would be awesome if it did. This is good advice. Last one. This one is my favorite. If you're overweight,
Which you probably are because you're taking this medication for heartburn.
okay, I'm taking it.
I'm just saying.
The Beaveman is not overweight.
Okay.
I am not.
No, he's not overweight. Stop. You're going to give him a complex.
Considering the Swan weighs almost as much as I do.
Well, I can't help it that you're tiny.
No, I'm not tiny. If you're overweight, lose weight.
Sounds like advice from your doctor.
This is some brilliant advice given to us by the manufacturers of esomeprazole magnesium, generic for Nexium, as
Brought to you by Walgreens.
brought to you by Walgreens, your
sponsored.
trusted, friendly neighborhood drugstore.
Sounds like advice that your doctor, who is also my doctor, likes to give.
What advice would your doctor give you about losing weight?
If you are overweight and you need to lose weight, just do what I do. Stop eating. I mean, it's just basically like that.
It seems like good advice.
It does. You know what I do?
I just don't eat so much.
I just don't eat so much. Yes. And he's like, or if you're hungry, have a salad. Like,
Fatty.
Fatty. Exactly. Just eat salad, but eat less of it.
Here's a funny thing about my doctor. He calls me yesterday. He says, "Hey, your cholesterol numbers are still high, and you really need to take some cholesterol medication." So he tells me my numbers. I'm like, eh. He's bugged me for years. I've been putting it off.
Like, I haven't had a stroke yet, damn it.
Yeah. So I said, okay, whatever. He's like, "Where's your drugstore?" I told him. He's like, "Are you gonna take it?" This is the first time he's ever asked me.
Wow.
Because by now he's probably tired of prescribing it and I don't take it. He's like, "Are you going to take this medication?"
No.
No,
I
probably
said,
not.
"Yes, I will take the medication. I've given up." I'm like, "Fine, I'll take the medication." I said, "Maybe here's was my solution. I said, you know what? Maybe I should just become a vegetarian. And he said, no, I don't think you need to go that extreme. Just take the medicine.
Just want to give you a pill.
Just take this pill instead. You don't need to become a vegetarian. That's ridiculous. Why do something that you could do on your own and not use a medication for it? That's my doctor.
Yay!
Still my favorite.
He's real. Definitely
real.
No filter there.
Okay, here's this one. You might remember this. The other cause of the coronavirus, the October 2019 meteorite explosion. You guys remember this?
Oh, yeah. That's totally a cause.
Something incredible happened in northeast China in the early hours of October 11, 2019. A meteorite exploded in the sky just after midnight, causing an intense flash that made the night sky as bright as day. Conspiracy theorists have now jumped on that incident, and they say the meteorite brought the COVID-19 virus from space. I can refute this one right away.
Yes,
Just sprinkling down
too.
like rain.
Like
Raindrops.
Sprinkles on a donut. What?
Mm-hmm.
It brought aliens that brought the virus.
Or are the aliens the virus?
Ooh,
Even
little
better.
tiny aliens.
Little tiny.
Aw,
Cute little aliens.
Little viruses. Let's see. Scientists say this is unlikely. Duh. Why? Why is it unlikely? Daughter.
Why are you asking me?
Because
they would
think
burn
logically.
up when they go through the Earth's atmosphere.
Oh.
Viruses can't survive at higher temperatures. That's why we have more viruses during the cold months.
So if we just burn people, we'll be fine, right?
Speaking of that-
if you just burn them alive, you will destroy the virus.
Or you could use your hair dryer
Oh yeah,
and a
this
spray
is-
bottle
Yes.
to burn out your nasal passages.
Now I'm not going to rip on my friend because I love her, but then again, I don't know if she listens to this podcast. I think that maybe she does. Maybe she does occasionally. She sent me a video and said, "Hey, this is a must read for you," because she knows what my profession is. It's hitman. No, she knows what I do for a living. So she sends me this video, and I was like, "Oh boy, here it comes!" And it's this video from this tool bag. What did I tell you his name was?
I don't know.
Dr. Dan Limke. Is
Yep,
that what it is?
that's what it is. Yep.
Dan Limke. And he's telling everybody, hey, you know what? Viruses don't live at high temperatures. So all you got to do is this, right? The coldest place on the human body where this virus would live would be in your nasal passages or your sinuses. So all you got to do is this. You got to heat that area up to a greater than 133 degrees. If you do that, you will kill the virus. You will also burn the fuck out of your nasal passages. You will burn your face. The mucosal tissue of your nasal passages will swell, and you might end up getting fucking intubated. But hey, go ahead and do that. Now, the video, I'm sure it's been pulled by now, I would hope.
You just watched it this morning.
No, she sent it to me.
Yeah, but
I don't know if it's pulled, if it's been pulled on multiple occasions. Now, if you ever want to refute something, people, just go to Snopes. Snopes hops on this shit and looks it up. If you believe Snopes, which I do, because if Snopes can't find the correct information, they'll say, hey, we didn't find enough information. We can't say yay or nay that it's true or not. Okay, they're honest about it. But right away, I can tell you that this won't work, and the reason why it won't work is what I just told you. The virus is not just in your nasal passages. It goes systemic. Okay, what does that mean?
Throughout your body.
It goes throughout your body. That means that's why do you think that you have multiple symptoms when you get a virus? You don't just have a stuffy nose.
You have body aches
You
and
get a cough. You
fever.
get body aches. You get a fever. You get all these. Why? Is because it's affecting multi-systems. So don't sit there and burn your nasal mucosa and use a mister and spray. If you find the video, it's really funny because this lady is using a hairdryer and it's right like maybe
Inches with
5
her-
inches maybe below her nasal passages, and she's got it on low. Now, just do this. If you don't believe me, go get your hairdryer, turn it on low, and hold it 5 inches from your arm and just let it sit there for a few seconds and see how hot that gets and see if you could actually do that to your nasal passages.
And you're going to singe all the hair off of your inside of your nose that protects your body from inhaling
And
bacteria.
then you're supposed to mist it with mist some
keep it
water
cool.
up there too.
Yeah.
That will help also. That's a good idea. Not a good idea, people. That's a very, very bad idea. I remember that we had this person once that came into the emergency room and was smoking with their oxygen on.
Dumb idea. Don't do it.
Don't do
people.
that either. It's very bad.
You should have seen the
Oxygen
daughter's
caught on
face
fire.
right there.
Oxygen caught on fire. the flames went up their nose, right? That is, now even if it seems like it's a minor burn, believe it or not, this is a very dangerous situation because those nasal passages
Swell up.
and now you've lost one part of your airway, and that can cause a chain reaction to the other part of your airway to swell also. So it is a big deal. So don't burn your nasal passages with a hairdryer. It's a very bad idea. Don't believe half the shit that's out there. I'm not saying you have to believe everything, but at least listen to experts. I'm not an expert, but I'm not going to sit there and say, I had this doctor who used to tell me his theory on everything. I liked working with him, but God, he would tell me some bogus-ass theories, and I would say, oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that the World Health Organization didn't ask you to sit on their board to decide all these things, but some of the shit that you say is just off the fucking wall crazy. Like, you're not an expert of anything. You're a peon just like I am. We depend on the scientific evidence that comes from research scientists and research doctors working in collaboration with each other to give us the best possible evidence to do things.
From multiple sources in multiple studies. Yeah.
Now, if you see this trend of things that are happening year by year by year in your clinical practice, yeah, that's how things change. You're like, I'll give you a prime example. Maybe this is boring. Maybe it's not. I don't care. I got you for the next 10 minutes. So you're going to sit there and fucking listen. All right. Maybe this is boring. Maybe it's not. But I had these patients years ago that had back pain, really bad back pain. But they also had depression. So my favorite medication that I would give people is this medication called Cymbalta. Shout out to you, Cymbalta. Whoever makes you. I don't know if it's who it is. Anyway. And of course they would come back and I would talk to them. They're like, hey, my back pain's better. I'm like, well, how's your depression? Well, that's not bad, but how's your back? Your back is better. I'm like, oh, that's weird. So I started giving it to my patients that had depression and back pain.
Right.
And they all seemed to say that, they all said their back pain was better. I'm like, huh, how weird is that? Well, Cymbalta, not because of me, but because obviously lots of people were seeing this. Somebody clearly did research on it because they were seeing it. That's how it happens. You see stuff in clinical practice. Some research person's like, hey, that's interesting. And they do a study on it. Well, Cymbalta now is a medication that we give to people not for just depression, but its other indication is for chronic pain. Mm-hmm. So that's how things go about. That's how they come about. That's how
off-label use is.
Off-label happens in clinical practice. But when you don't have stuff like that, you have to depend on the scientific research of the scientific community. I'm not a scientist. I don't go out there and go, I really want to know about this, and maybe I can get a grant to figure out why it is that the shavings from the testicles of gophers seems to reduce my allergy symptoms. No.
Yeah, don't try that one.
No, I don't try that one either.
They'd be so tiny.
You're an idiot. That's what she took from that.
That's funny.
Actually, a really, really funny thing here. I was reading a product insert or a drug insert, and I don't know if they think that people don't read those.
I don't think most people do.
But I
think a lot of people do actually because they have every single side effect from it.
Well, I need to go find it though and read it to you guys. But I was reading it and it said how they made the medication or how they got the genetic material of it to decide how to do it or whatever. And I'm not kidding. It was like from the ovaries of gophers. And I was laughing my head off. I'm like, did I just fucking read that? That's where it came from? Well, like catapress or clonidine was derived from snake venom.
Uh-huh.
So I was just like laughing. I'm like, who sat around and said, you know what? Let me grab this gopher's ovaries and see what kind of medication I can make out of it.
Well, I mean, just like Coumadin, and everyone's like, it's my rat poison.
Well, it is.
I mean, it is. But that's what they say.
Thing.
They're like, I'm coming in to get my rat poison checked.
Yeah, but again, who sat around and said,
Right.
you know what? I think this gopher ovary. And I'm just kidding. I'm not sure it was a gopher. It might have been a hamster. But still, I was like, what? I have to remember which medication that was because I was laughing my ass off. Probably people thought I was crazy.
Probably.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, well.
But, okay, so here it is. A Chinese woman eating bat soup is the speculation. There are speculations that humans got the COVID-19 virus from bats. While scientists are yet to verify this claim, some people believe it spread to humans after someone munched down on an infected bat. And that someone is Chinese travel blogger Wing Mengyan.
Oh my goodness.
Is it? Wing Mengyan? Mengyan became a victim of a conspiracy theory after a video of her eating a bat went viral.
It's disgusting.
She was accused of contracting the virus and spreading it to other people. Mengyan was later forced by the socialist Chinese government to apologize for eating the bat. Though, really, I mean, probably lots of people eat bats. She added that the video was shot in 2016, 3 years before the COVID-19 virus appeared, and it was not shot in China, but in Palau, an island nation in the Pacific Ocean. This bat does not look happy. Because I'm pretty sure he was steamed or boiled alive. This is a disturbing video if you watch it.
Yeah,
It's gross.
It is not
Well,
cool.
she got the small version of it before it became big, like as in my theory. So she survived.
You know
She's
what?
probably
You could be
immune
right.
to it.
You could be right.
We should get, what is her name? We should get her blood
Hang on.
for an antidote, for a vaccine.
Some unknown person or group created it from the HIV virus.
Probably also debunked.
Yeah, that one's... I'm not even going to read that one. The number 2 theory. Corona Extra is a brand of beer brewed in Mexico. It is unrelated to the coronavirus and does not cause or spread it. The beer got its name from the Spanish and Latin word for crown. The virus was named for its crown-like shape.
A lot of people like that beer. I'm not even a big fan of it. I'm not going to lie.
Corona
Okay.
Extra has been suffering a naming crisis since the epidemic broke out. While no one has actually claimed it causes or spreads the virus, it appears that people already nurse such beliefs. Google has been flooded with searches for a corona beer virus, beer virus, and beer coronavirus since January.
Yeah.
People actually believe it. I'm not kidding you.
Haven't you seen those memes with like the Corona beer with the mask? Everybody else in the refrigerator with the mask on? Have
Yeah,
you seen
the other
that?
beers. Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
No, I think that is funny because one of the funniest things that reminded me of when that happened was I was reminded of these diet pills that my mom used to take when I was a kid. So years ago, years and years ago, my mom had these they're chews. They're little caramel chews, and they were called AIDS.
Oh, I do remember this.
And then the AIDS epidemic came out, and the manufacturer or the corporate the leaders were like, "What the fuck are we gonna do? They just named a disease
After our diet pills
product."
that cause weight loss, and
Yeah.
AIDS causes weight loss.
And so I was laughing about that, and I read this thing, and it says, and they actually talk about it here. It says the market share of Corona Extra has actually grown according to the company. Lucky them. In the 1980s, a diet candy called AIDS suffered a 50% drop in sales after people thought it caused AIDS. It's so great. It's just so good. It's so good. It's wonderful. I love it.
So what's number one?
That was, number 1?
Yeah, you said we were on number 2.
Number 1 I don't get because I don't know who Samuel Hyde is. Do you know who Samuel Hyde is, Daughter?
No.
Oh, okay, whatever. Well, Samuel Hyde is a famous actor and comedian, though I don't know who he is. Shout out to
Famous
you, Mr.
to
Hyde.
someone.
Some people, however, think he should also be famous for starting the coronavirus epidemic. This claim is believed to be part of a running joke of blaming Hyde for every unfortunate incident that occurs in the United States. It's kind of like Carl.
Yeah.
Shut up, Carl. Real article. Comedian Sam Hyde not behind the spread of coronavirus. As it happens, Hyde has been blamed for almost every mass shooting in the U.S. The accusations have sometimes gotten a bit more serious, like it did after a deadly shooting in Texas in 2017. Blah, blah, blah. Republican Vincent Gonzalez told CNN the name of the shooter was Sam Hyde. He later apologized after discovering he had fallen for an ongoing prank and conspiracy theory. Idiots.
Well, I guess he's getting fame no matter what, right?
No, that's not
But
good.
we don't know who he is, so he ain't that famous.
Well, I know who he is now. He's Sam Hyde, by God. Sam Hyde. Thanks, Sam Hyde. If you want to be on our podcast, please go ahead and contact us. Contact us at slaptailsquad@gmail.com. And maybe, just maybe, you'll get a response back from the Rons. Hey.
Don't forget if anyone wants to send me frosting. Frosting.
And thank you, listeners in Mountain View, San Jose. Where else? Where else, daughter? Where else have we got listeners? Big listeners.
I don't know.
And once again, please don't go to your doctor's office and ask to be tested for the coronavirus. There's not that many tests, and until we get widespread testing, it's just not going to happen. For example, the county that I work in, there are 3 counties listed on the county website, and out of the 3 counties, daughter, how many individuals do you think have been approved for testing in 3 counties?
Approved for testing?
In other words, they
Yeah.
met the guidelines that are put out right now for testing for the virus.
30.
20.
I was going to say 20, but then I thought higher.
So imagine that. 3 counties, out of 3 counties, only 20 individuals have been approved for testing. So,
Yeah, I just find it crazy because the east side of our state has a shit ton of confirmed positive, and they're getting testing. We're in denial over here. We're in our own little denial world over in the west side of the state.
I don't know if it's in denial or it's just tests are not available.
Right.
If they're not allowing the private labs to test without sending, if you're only using CDC test kits or the labs only have CDC test kits, even though they've approved more companies to test, I don't know why we're not doing widespread testing. LabCorp and Halogen Labs got FDA approval for testing.
Quest,
so until they,
right?
I think Quest still has to send theirs to the CDC. And we were asked not to use them anymore, so not to do the testing. I haven't done any testing on anybody, even though I know I'm sure I've had people that have it because it's widespread. It's got to be everywhere. It's got to be everywhere. So just use your head for something other than a hat rack or something. Don't put it in the oven either.
Or in with the blow dryer.
Yeah, definitely don't stick it at your face in front of a blow dryer for several minutes at a time. Just maybe listen to the experts, of which I am not one, but I am telling you to use some freaking common sense. But thanks for joining us today while we are doing our social distancing and self-imposed
Quarantine,
even though none of us are confirmed positive or have been exposed to anyone that we know of with confirmed COVID-19 as caused by the what virus?
Daughter,
caused by
wake
what
up.
virus?
I know.
What virus causes the condition that is known as COVID-19?
I don't.
It is the SARS-CoV-2 virus.
Oh, I wasn't gonna guess.
And before we go, the daughter will now give us a science break and tell us a little bit about microbiology.
Oh God.
What is microbiology?
What is microbiology?
Come on, daughter.
Well,
Come on, you big dummy.
Microbiology is the study of microbes.
Oh, what are...
There you go.
There you go.
And that's
You're
it.
welcome.
There you go. Thank you. And yeah, thank you for bringing us that little bit of information. And you can always say this about the Slaptail Squad. Sometimes we do say something that is factually accurate.
There you go.
Did I just say the same thing twice? Factually accurate? Whatever. From me, the Beaveman, saying thanks for listening and adios, mooch fuckos.
Bye.
Bye.
Stay healthy.
Wash your hands and don't touch that.
Good advice.